So now we can consider a thing that here there is a special arrangement is also made. In this special arrangement there is a spiral spring that is provided and which is used to apply a counter torque against this magnetic field. So the counter torque produced by this spring, that is spiral spring, in the figure above we can see that spiral spring as a number 7, it is given there, which is used to produce a counter torque against this produced magnetic field. So it will apply a counter torque, that is K phi, where phi is the deflection taken place by the pointer against this magnetic field. So in the magnetic field it experiences torque, and due to that these two torques are the same. So now we can compare in equilibrium condition. So when we compare them, we can say that this K phi is equals to NIAB. Now in this condition, if we make phi as a subject, this phi is called the deflection. So if phi is the subject, we can put like N B A upon K. K is a constant, obviously, that is called torsional constant or a twist constant, and here this is I. Now it is very interesting to see that the quantities which are given in the bracket, that is number of turns, magnetic field, cross sectional area, and a torsional constant, or we can say that a twist constant K, all these quantities are constant, and therefore as you change the current, then the deflection will also change. So from this equation we can say that the deflection inside the galvanometer, or the deflection of the pointer of the galvanometer, is directly proportional to the current passing through the coil, and that is the main used for the galvanometer, that as we pass the current it will show the deflection. So it is very clear as in the given figure above. If there is no current is flowing, then it will be on the center as shown in the figure, but as current will pass, then it will give the deflection. Now it also shows the direction of the current. Suppose the current is moving from left to right, then it also provides the magnetic field, and the pointer will move towards the right direction or towards the north to south. If current is flowing from south to north, then pointer will also move in respective direction. So we can detect the current as well as we can find the direction of current with the help of galvanometer. So these are the basic usage of galvanometer, and we can understand it here. Today we will discuss a new topic, that is the moving coil galvanometer. Now in this topic, what is our main core subject? That we know that suppose we want to measure current or we want to measure voltage, what we will do? Obviously, first of all we have to detect whether there is a current in the circuit or not. So to find out that current, or to detect the value of current, we are using the galvanometer. We have already talked in chapter number 3 that how current is produced, what is the reason behind the potential difference and all. But now suppose we want to measure the value of current, to measure the value of voltage between two endpoints, between two resistors, or we are given a battery of some certain EMF that we don't know, then we want to measure the EMF, voltage and current of the given circuit, then obviously we have to use galvanometer. So galvanometer is a very versatile instrument that is very useful for this detection purpose. Now, what is the principle behind the moving coil galvanometer and why it is said so? So behind that, we can first say that it is a very special device, and the principle of it is the same as we have discussed earlier, that is, when any current carrying loop is kept in a uniform magnetic field, it experiences torque, and that torque is the main principle, that acting torque is the basic main principle behind this moving coil galvanometer. So now, first of all, what are the basic part of the moving coil galvanometer, as we will discuss here. So the galvanometer consists a coil. You can see that coil as number 5 as a red color. So in the circuit, in the figure above, it is given that a red color coil which is covered with two strong permanent magnet. Here the permanent magnet are shown by N and S, and it is pointed as a number 3. Now this galvanometer consists of a coil. This coil has many turns. It is free to rotate about a fixed axis, that is called pivot, about a pivot. So that point number 6 as in above figure, that is that pivoted part, that is a very small base on which this coil is free to move. So it is just connected through this pivot and it is free to move about a soft iron rod. So here that soft iron core is provided. This soft iron core is kept for a special purpose. The basic reason is that when or suppose we do not put this soft iron core, then what will happen? Then the distance between north and south pole of the permanent magnet becomes non-uniform. For that, I would like to show you the actual what can happen over here. We can see that suppose we are given this type of magnetic field or this type of arrangement, then what will happen? Here this distance is small, this distance is small, while this distance are large. This is larger than that, and therefore we cannot get uniform magnetic field, but this will become non-uniform magnetic field. So to remove this non-uniformity, we are using actually this soft iron core. So this soft iron core provides radial and uniform magnetic field. For this we are using a soft cylindrical arrangement, and this is a very good object to improve the magnetic field. So it increases the strength of the magnetic field also. Now when current will flow through this coil, then it will experience torque, and when it experiences torque, it will move about its axis, that is about pivot. For that we have a pointer that we have kept on this coil, and it is arranged in such a manner that the sign theta always remains as a 90, so that sine 90 is always 1. So here we can say that this pointer that is given by number 2 and a coil that is given by a number 6 as a number 5, so that 5 and 2 are always perpendicular, and that is pre-arranged mechanism, so that we are always having sine theta is sine 90 and that is equals to 1. Now under this condition we can say that when current will pass through this coil, it will experience torque, and that torque is given by a very well known equation that is we have already, and that is tau is equals to n I a b. So that is a given very well known equation. Here we consider that suppose it has total capital N number of turns and the torque is provided by this equation. Now suppose I want to use this galvanometer as current measured instrument, that is ammeter, or a voltage measuring instrument, that is voltmeter. But there are some limitations that we cannot directly use this instrument as a current measuring instrument or an ammeter. So what are these problems, what are these limitations that we have to experience over here? So there are basically two reasons. That first thing, that galvanometer is a very sensitive device. So if we are given a very small value, that is said in a microampere current, then also it will give a full scale deflection, and it will have full deflection just due to a microampere current. So if we want to measure 1 ampere, 2 ampere or some milliampere, then we have to change the mechanism behind that. In a second, that for measuring currents, the galvanometer has to be connected in the series as shown in the figure here. Now if I connect it in the series, then its own resistance is also added to that circuit device. So for that we have to minimize its resistance. In the same manner, if I want to measure voltage and I use it as a voltmeter, I have to connect it in a parallel with the portion as shown in the figure above. But again here the problem is there, that if we use it as a voltage measuring instrument, then also there will be a problem that it cannot have the same value that we want as a resistance, because the resistance against change. So in that case, that is in the first case, suppose we want to use as a ammeter, its own resistance will added, and if we want to use it as a voltmeter, then also the resistive part will come, that will make some differences in the circuit. So how to overcome this problem? So first we will go for the making of that ammeter, that is current measuring instrument, and how we can overcome the problem. So we can say that to convert the galvanometer into ammeter, we can make a certain arrangement. Here in the figure below of the circuit given above, we have shown that a G is a galvanometer and Rg is the resistance of the galvanometer. Now we have connected a very small resistance called shunt in parallel to this connection. By connecting this arrangement, we can say that we can almost neglect the resistance of the galvanometer. See, we know that when anything is connected in the parallel, then its overall resistance becomes in this manner, that R resultant or R for ammeter, we can say that it would be, that is Rg into Rs over Rg plus Rs. So here what will happen, that the actual resistance will be as very small with the term that we have used, because Rs is small and it comes in the numerator, so the actual value becomes very small, and this can be solved by using this formula. So we can use this formula and solve the problem that we have encountered. So this problem is encountered with the help of this, and we can convert that galvanometer into the ammeter. Now again, what is that mechanism, or what is the value of Rs or the resistance Rs? So here one more thing is that in this arrangement, when we calculate, what will happen in this arrangement, when we calculate the values of Ra, then that actual value of Rg is cancelled out, and Ra, that is the shunt value, is our resultant resistance, or the resultant resistance will be very near to that shunt value. So the resistance of overall galvanometer decreases due to this arrangement, and now this device can be used as a ammeter, because this resistance will not change the circuit resistance, or it cannot make a major difference in the circuit. Now suppose I want to use as voltmeter, but before going that, I can say that what are the value for this circuit. So we can say that for the circuit as given here, we can put the term that already we have put equation, that is K phi is equals to NIAB. So if I take them in a certain manner, that phi upon I is the term, then it will be NAB over K. Now in right hand side all the terms are constant, so this portion is called phi by I, that is deflection per unit current, and that is called current sensitivity. So it is called current sensitivity, and it is given by IS. So we represent it as a IS, that is current sensitivity, and it is deflection per unit current. So the deflection is experienced by the circuit or the galvanometer, and this deflection is directly proportional to the current, and therefore whatever the scaling we have made on the scale, according that we can make the measurement of the current by taking some references respect to that. Now we will see that how we can convert a galvanometer into a voltmeter. So the method to convert galvanometer into a voltmeter is a very simple again, that what we need a large resistance in a series connection with this galvanometer resistance. So how to convert it in a voltmeter? So it is as shown in the figure above. The galvanometer can convert into voltmeter to measure the voltage across the given section of the circuit. Now for this, it must be connected in a parallel, that we know that voltage is constant for the parallel connection. So we have to connect it in a parallel section of the circuit. Now it must draw a very small current, because if it will draw more current, then what will happen, then the actual resistance of the circuit will change. So for that, we have to make that portion of the circuit has a larger resistance, so that the minimum current will flow through that, and it will not change the actual circuit current. So for that, it must draw a very small current. For that, we have to connect a large resistance in the series connection with that. So this is the making of the voltmeter. Now for that also we have a simple equation, that we have already derived, that is, we have k phi is equals to NIAB. Now there is an interesting part. First we make phi as a subject, then if phi is a subject, we can say that this is, that is, NAB over K into I. That will be your basic part. Now in this, if I say that I divide this circuit or this equation by V, I divide this equation by V, then this portion, that is I by V, becomes 1 upon R. So here again I say that phi by V is equals to, that is, NAB over K into 1 upon R. So that is called a voltage sensitivity, and that is deflection per unit voltage. Here an interesting point is noted that increasing in current sensitivity may not necessarily increase the voltage sensitivity, because here all the quantities are constant. So how to understand it? Let's again consider that suppose in the equation here of the current sensitivity, let we move towards that, that is the equation as shown over here. I would like to show this equation. So in this equation provides a measurement of current sensitivity, and obviously if we change number of turns, then current will also get doubles, because here the current sensitivity will also change to the double. Now therefore we can say that the current sensitivity doubles as we change the number of turns. Now go to that part with the resistance in that portion of voltmeter. So now in the portion of voltmeter, what will happen? If we change the number of turns over here, actually it will not change the value, because as n turns to 2n's, then R will also turns to 2R, so that R will cancel out, and thus the voltage sensitivity remains as it is. So in general, the modification needed for conversion of a galvanometer to an ammeter, and that will be different from what is needed for converting it into a voltmeter. So it is very clear that we can convert galvanometer into ammeter, and in a different manner we can convert galvanometer into voltmeter. Now as shown in the figure above, we are given that the circuit is provided, and in circuit the current is to be measured. So what is the value of current if the ammeter shown in the figure is a galvanometer with a resistance of Rg of 60 ohm? So we say that if this is the resistance, if this is a galvanometer with a resistance of 60 ohm, then what will be that actual current will flow through this? So here we can calculate the current flow through this. We can calculate it in this manner. We can say, obviously the circuit has the total resistance, that will be that R dash is equals to Rg plus that given resistance of 3 ohm. Rg is given as a 60, so that will be 60 plus 3 ohm, that is 63 ohm, that it is total resistance. Now voltage is given as a 3 volt, so we can say that V is equals to IR dash for this case, and we can calculate that I is equals to V upon R dash, that is 3 divided by 63. So it will gives us a value of about 0.048 ampere. But the second question is more important and interesting. They have given us that if we connect a shunt resistance of 0.02 ohm with this galvanometer, then what will be the current through now this circuit? So for that we have to find out a new resistance for that galvanometer part. So we say that shunt resistance is given as 0.02 ohm. So a new resistance of the circuit, that is of A meter, that A meter's new resistance will be, that is RS into RG upon RS plus RG. So here RS is 0.02, RG is given as a 60 upon this is 60.02. So now what will be this overall value? Here we can say that this is nearly about 0.02 ohms, and now this portion is added with that actual resistance of the circuit that we can use over here, that is R double dash is RA plus given R, that is 3 ohm, so that will be 0.02 it will be 0.02 plus 3 ohm, that is 3.02, and regarding that the current will be that I is equals to V by R double dash. So we can say that this is 3 divided by 3.02, that is about 0.99. So 0.99 ampere. So we can also write it as about 1 ampere current that can be experienced or will flow through that circuit. And they have also asked us a third question, that if it is an ideal emitter with zero resistance, that means that resistance is zero for that galvanometer portion, or that is that ammeter portion. So what will happen for that portion? We can say that here for that ideal emitter, so that is for ideal emitter, that resistance of ammeter will be 0. So here only the given external resistance will present, and we can measure that value, that is 3 divided by 3, and in that case we can say that resistance is 3, that is given only, that is external, and that is again a 1 ampere is the answer. So in that case the total current that will flow through the circuit will be 1 ampere. So this is the example number 4.13.